What's going on there, folks? Earthmaster here, checking in on the live stream with an update video, earthquake update video on this February 25th, 2021, about 7:50 p.m. West Coast time. The latest earthquake on the globe. Check this out, folks. In South America, 4.2 earthquake. Look at how far this ring is raised off the globe. 570 kilometers downstream there, below the surface. That is incredibly deep, and I believe that's one of the deepest earthquakes I've ever seen in the South America region. Now, of course, this is a subduction area, right? You got the trench off here, Peru-Chile Trench, that does extend down underneath the subduction area right here. I'm thinking, probably right around where that earthquake just struck. Down dip, downstream here, folks. You know, if you can picture this in your mind, underneath this surface here, we got this plate here, subduction. But man, I tell you what, that's an extremely deep earthquake, and it looks as though almost my earthquake 3D notification bells were set off, and I'm not for sure exactly why. But they are on now, just FYI. There is that 4.2 once again on the USGS map in the South America area. This thing has been reviewed. I double checked, so shouldn't be any type of update on that depth there. 570. I mean, that's incredible. It has been relatively quiet, folks, throughout the globe. We'll go ahead and back out here a little bit from South America and show you guys the bigger picture. Check out the Pacific. Wow. Check out the Pacific Plate. What do I talk about? What's out there to talk about? It's been like this for a couple days now. We've seen, yes, some sporadic earthquake activity down here near Fiji and Solomon Islands region, but look at that. It's absolutely non-existent when it comes to earthquake activity over the past 24 hours. Of course, I'm sure there's some minor earthquake activity, but even so, on the all magnitudes map here from the USGS, of course, this only picks up the states and whatnot around the region, Alaska. But there's nothing to report above 4.0 out there in the international community, in the Pacific Ring of Fire. That is, I can't say it's never happened. We've had some quiet spells for sure, but man, over the past couple days, this has been the picture. Very absent of any type of moderate movement. Something's brewing, folks, and I expect now that we've seen some major. It's not a large earthquake, but the depth of this earthquake is very important. In this subduction area, we could see some large uptick in earthquake activity out here along the Pacific part of the plate. Well, of course, the eastern part, I should say, and also into the Peru-Chile Trench area. That's this region right here where the largest earthquake ever recorded took place back in the 60s. So I am just in amazement with this deep earthquake right there. It's just out of the blue, almost 600 kilometers. That's some major deep movement there for this region. Of course, over here around the Fiji Islands area, Solomon Islands area, and this little twist of the plate here, that's where we get our extremely major deep earthquake activity on a continual basis. But over the last, I'd say the week or so, we haven't seen any deep movement out here. So it's going to be, we need to be on guard to this specific little earthquake here at that depth there. It's just, man, I tell you what, it's incredible to see that deep movement up there. Down there, I should say. West Coast region, Southern Cal, somewhat active, right around the San Andreas Fault System there, around Banning, California, Desert Hot Springs area. Not anything directly on the San Andreas Fault System, but I'd definitely say around it. Some microquake activity around Banning, and also 2.1 near Cabazon. My pronunciations have been corrected rather strictly over the past couple videos, so I will try to stick to that, including the new Madrid fault. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. I've been corrected numerous times on that new Madrid fault system out there in Arkansas. Pretty quiet. It does stretch up there around the Tennessee Valley area as well, but no earthquake activity report on that major seismic hazard zone today. Oklahoma, a few fracking quakes, if I can spit that out correctly. Other than that, though, the southern plains looking pretty quiet. Ridgecrest still seeing some aftershock activity also in this area to the east of Ridgecrest, in a little region there in the mountainous areas of the desert. You can see a couple small microquakes there being recorded out there in the in that specific valley out there. Nevada as well, seeing a little increase in earthquake activity along this fault fracture from last year's 6.0 that struck out there. This thing just, it goes through these phases here. It's been going on for some time, I tell you what. And of course, we could see this continue for, remainder of this year. We'll have to just keep an eye on it. But over the last 24 hours, definitely an increase in earthquake activity around Mina, with the largest quake, a 3.3, in that cluster of aftershocks following last year's big earthquake out there. Northern Cal, pretty quiet for the most part right now. That could be the hot spot, right? Calm before the storm. You never know. Never take that for granted. Mount St. Helens seeing a small little earthquake right smack dab on the summit area, 1.3 kilometers downstream, or I should say down below the crater area, 0.6, just a little microquake, but still something right there at the volcano. As we stretch around the globe, like I said, pretty quiet out here on the western part of the Pacific Ring, and also including up through here. I mean, it's just overall, folks, pretty quiet. You look at the big picture here, and we're looking at just a lot of quiet activity. We'll see what this baby brings up here, 570 kilometers down. It's just, man, it's absolutely crazy. Here's a tremor map from the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network here. Shows the latest tremor along the Cascadia subduction zone area that stretches into northern Cal up into Vancouver Island area. That's the area where the potential 9.0 or greater earthquake could take place here in the near future and devastate, no doubt, the West Coast and every community along the coastline, unfortunately. We're looking at about 79 epicenters of tremor along the Cascadia. Normally, well, I shouldn't say normally, but basically down here in the southern Oregon area, we have seen it for the most part over the past few weeks up here around the Vancouver Island area, strictly around the Victoria region, but that has migrated a little bit to the south, so kind of keep an eye on that. This tremor does play a major part in the buildup and whatnot along the locked section of the Cascadia subduction zone that does sit offshore of the west coast, so a sleeping giant in the making there. I shouldn't say in the making, it's been there for a long time. It's just currently sleeping. What else we got here, folks? Yellowstone National Park. Let's cover that map real quick. There we go. Nothing to cover. Let's go ahead and check out the solar weather activity. They're dropped it back down to the green level for the 3-day geomagnetic forecast there for storming activity. There is something cool that's happening on the sun right now. One of my favorite subjects is the solar sunspots out there. There's little dark spots there on the sun that are pretty awesome. We're looking at a 40% chance of a C flare, which is really nothing, but at least it's something. M flare threat at about, what do we got, 5% there. X flare probably non-existent for the next couple months, but that will definitely ramp up. Maybe we'll get even something stronger when it ramps up towards the solar maximum there in a couple years. But either way, the sun's kind of coming alive. We're looking at AR2804, little sunspot there. It's a new sunspot with the potential of an isolated C flare. There's, just like I said, a possibility of about 40% chance there of seeing that flare kick off. So, all right, folks, have a absolutely beautiful night. I got some filet mignons on the barbecue. It's just something I love to do every once in a while. Actually, I'm barbecuing every night, it seems like, but filet mignon, yeah, No. But I did find a pretty good deal on some of that meat at our local store a couple of days ago. I had it in the freezer, so I kind of pulled it off, and I'm going to barbecue that up tonight for dinner. Some good stuff. Absolutely yummy. But still, looking at this, like I said, folks, 4.2 earthquake down there in the South America region. Subduction zone, 570 kilometers below surface. One of the deepest earthquakes I've seen in that region. Stay safe out there, guys. Be prepared.